this starts and when it's just kind of, okay, it says we're live. Okay, so Merry Christmas, everybody. And we have all of our Christmas, everything ready. We had offers from some wonderful friends who wanted us to come and spend Christmas with them. But it is really nice just to kind of huddle down, not have to mess with the stores and have it just be a family thing. So for all those who invited us, thank you so much. We love you so much. And we hope that you are having fun without us. Our beautiful Christmas tree that the girls decorated and our cute kids. Okay, so honey, I love you so much, but when you wave your hand, it makes it unfocused. So read your book. We had to have a conversation about interruptions during live shows. So what I want to talk about today is food storage. A lot of people are saying, you know, the cold weather is just starting to settle in. What does my emergency preparedness look like? Most states don't grow fresh food during January and February. Some do, like, you know, if you're in Florida or somewhere like that, or if you have a big greenhouse, you can. But reliance on grocery stores during the holiday seasons and during the coldest winter months can be a little bit foolhardy, I think. I had a little bit of a wake-up call with this. We have a friend who is very well prepared with their food storage, and I used to be very well prepared with my food storage, but I haven't been in a long time. And so we decided that when our last paycheck for the year came in, we were going to take the first X amount of money and we were going to go and get our food storage put back together so that we had at least a month's worth of food in the house at any given time, and then work up from there. We used to have about 5 years worth of food storage. That included for ourselves and for our animals. But when we left, of course, we couldn't take that kind of food storage with us. And I don't necessarily recommend having 5 years worth of food storage. I think 1 year worth of food storage, plus all your vegetable seeds, your garden seeds, your fruit trees, your farm animals, taking all that into account. I think 1 year of dry good type food storage is good to have on hand. Let's see if anybody is saying it. Oh, I'm missing everything. Everybody is saying things and I'm not hearing it. Okay. All right. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. So what we did, and I'll try and make sure to stay on so that I can see what you guys are typing. So what we did is with that first little bit of money that came in with our paycheck this month is we went and bought a little tiny chest freezer. It's just 7 cubic feet. It's not huge. But it means that when things are on sale, we can buy them in bulk, we can put them in the freezer, and then we can pull out as we need to. I don't think we always recognize how much it costs to run to the grocery store every 2 or 3 days to get milk or to get eggs or to get something else like that. Because you have to take into account time, whether or not you have to drag your kids with you, and also what are the prices going to be when you go in. That you may go in for milk and find that last week it was $2, this week it's $6. So I think that the freezer felt like a bit of a pinch. It definitely felt like a bit of a pinch, but we found it used. We got it for $120, and it was just down the street, so it wasn't a big deal. The next thing we did is we went and we got a membership with Costco. I've never had a membership with Costco because we have Winco back home, which has prices that are as good, if not better, than Costco. And so that felt like a huge ouch. For those of you who take part with Costco, you have to pay a membership fee up front, and then after that you can buy your groceries. DIY Solar Wind said, I just ordered seeds for dwarf fruit trees. I just might keep them trimmed to keep them indoors. I gotcha. All right. Carmelina Balchin, hello from England, originally from Italy. Hello, how are you? Okay, Josh made it. Good morning, Essential Mountain Homestead. Okay, so we did go to Costco, and that felt like a bit of a pinch because you have that initial amount. You can do the cheaper one, or you can do the more expensive one where you actually get a refund back at the end of the year of your membership fee. And yeah, it felt like a pinch. But then we went and spent, now here's the thing, when you go and get your food storage and you really know what you're buying, you'll generally spend several $100s. The first time John and I went and got food storage, we used our tax return money, and I think we spent $700 just getting things like dry beans, salt, sugar, honey, raisins, nuts, all those things. I think we spent $700 the first time when we first got married. We went and got food storage. We didn't spend that much this time because I like to say we're a little bit smarter this time. We only got what we absolutely had to have for 1 month's worth of food storage, and we'll grow from there. But let's see. Adam Dusso said, how much are the memberships? So the memberships for Costco are, if you go and you get the gold one, I think it's $50 for the year. And I think you do have to pay it every year. That's my understanding. The other one, the one that pays you back at the end of the year, you get your money back, is $120. It's not chump change. It's one grocery shopping trip's worth of money. But I will say we got some really good deals. I was really happy with our organic section. There was a lot that we couldn't get, but I was happy with what we did find. Even with our food allergies and needing to be paleo, we did find enough there that it was really well worth us having the membership. For one thing, John goes through a gallon of milk a day. And so he goes through a lot of milk. And for us, we go through a lot of fruits and vegetables very, very quickly, and we go through meat quickly. And so we'll see if this will pay off. I do feel like retail stores like Reese's and Albertsons, some places like that, is like the boutique of grocery stores. And I don't really think, I don't really think that it is money well spent. Let's see. Essential Mountain Homestead. Josh said, I love Costco so much. Actually, his wife, Kim, loves Costco. And now that I've been the first time, I see why she loves it so much. But if you're going to have a Costco membership, you do need to have a freezer and some real storage space because everything is in bulk. So we already showed you guys that we built this storage bench, shed, couch for Kaya, and I need to build another one for Paige. I just haven't got to it because we were sick. Hold on. Hi, Daddy. Hi, Dad. Hi. So Daddy's back from running his hero. Did anything, was anything there?
No, they're closed.
Oh. They said they'd be, oh, it's Sunday, isn't it? They said they'd be open till noon. It just figures. We forgot it was Sunday. The Have More Farm said, my family shares. One of the siblings buys each year, and then we meet to buy one once a month. See, and for us, we were able to add on a family member, and it didn't necessarily have to be me. It didn't have to be a spouse. It can be your mom, it can be your sister, it can be your child. So with ours, we were able to add another person on. Adam Dusso said, a gallon of milk. I bet he wishes you could produce your own. Well, we do. When we have our goats, we do have our own milk, and then John has plenty of milk and no need to. We save a lot of money on milk when we have goats, don't we? Yes? No? Maybe? So.
Yes, Mommy.
The Have More Farm said, Sam's and Costco isn't always a good buy, though. No, it's not always a good buy. But I think when you're needing to buy things in bulk, for instance, if I go to Natural Grocers and I get the dry goods there, it's organic and it's cheaper than what I can get at Reese's. The thing I don't like is having to go to multiple grocery stores all over town in order to get a good deal, unless I'm buying like 20 packages at each store when it's a really good deal. Then, you know, running from different stores is worth it, I think, if you're buying a lot. But if you're doing that every 2 or 3 days because you don't have enough on hand, that becomes a problem. Let's see. All right, so the other things I wanted to talk about, cold winter months, sometimes the power goes out. If you have propane or natural gas, there's much less chance of it going out, but I think that it is really wise to have some kind of heater on hand, whether it be propane, kerosene. One of them that we had was white gas. Am I missing anything?
No, cover all. And wood.
And wood. What we like to do is that we just used a wood stove for all of our heating, and so we didn't, I mean, we also had propane and kerosene stoves on hand in case we needed to leave our house. We could take that with us. But our wood stove was a pretty big deal. And then let's see. Lighting, it's good to have some kind of light. You can do solar lights that you can take outside and recharge. You can do lamp oil. You can do candles, but you should have some kind of light on hand. Water is a big deal. Even in places that have a lot of snow in the winter, you have to use some of your heating fuel to warm that water up, to boil it, to get it clean, and to melt it. And so you don't want to have to be doing anything like that with your precious fuel. You want, and you don't really know how, I mean, that water has not been filtered at all that's in that snow. It's got all sorts of fun things in it. So we would recommend water storage. What do they say? Is it 5 gallons per person per day if you're including hygiene? Something like that? It's a lot. We didn't use that much when we were off grid. It was closer probably to about 2 gallons a day in water between hygiene and drinking and cooking. We had about 6 gallons of water a day that we used for our whole family. But for most people, they probably want more water than that. And you can get those water containers, 5-gallon water containers, and they store conveniently. You can put chlorine in them. Just make sure to find out what your ratios are for chlorine. You can't store liquid chlorine. You can treat your water with liquid chlorine, and then your water will stay good. But if you want to treat more water, you're going to need some of that powdered chlorine that doesn't have the other additives in it. Is there a special name for it? Remember?
Crystal, I don't remember.
There was some kind of crystal chlorine. Let's see. Umbrella Automotive Plan D Survival said, I store salt water with the salt filtration. It stays clean longer than I desalinate it. Awesome.
So how does it desalinate efficiently?
I don't know. He doesn't say. Okay, the next thing is have your garden seeds. Make sure you have some garden seeds on hand. You know, anything that you have on the hoof outside, make sure that you have food for it. Food for your chickens. We store food for our chickens for a year. We have enough for them to go through 1 full year, if not a little bit more. And same thing with our goats. We like to keep a couple ton of hay around so that if we have late snow in the spring, we still have hay for our goats. They don't have to be out on pasture before the snow is up. And if we have to keep some animals away from others, if they were ill or something, we'd like to have a separate pen and thus have extra hay. So I do like to have that kind of thing on hand for the full year. And again, it helps because you can buy it at a good price, and then you don't have to buy it at retail boutique type prices later. Let's see. Nancy Reichart said, I have hundreds of canned goods, meat, veggies, kraut, beets, juices, broths, jams, and jellies, which is all really important. One of the reasons we don't keep as many canned goods around is that we don't do terribly well with canned goods. Our stomachs don't seem to really handle it as well as they do frozen or fresh. And so a lot of what we store is things like potatoes. We went and picked up about 50 pounds of potatoes, sweet potatoes and russets and yellow. And we picked up 20 pounds of onions. And so because we did have a basement and it was very cool, we could store through the winter about 400 pounds of potatoes, about the same amount of apples. We kept them out in the garage, and we kept very minimal amounts of canned goods. The other thing is that if you ever have an earthquake or a storm or something, things that are dry you can carry them out of your home a lot easier if they're dry goods, and then you just add water to cook them, as opposed to things that have a lot of liquid in them, that are fragile, that are heavy. So I'm not knocking canned goods by any means. It's just make sure that your food storage plan reflects the needs of your family. And for us, canned goods, they kind of bother our stomachs a little bit. Robin South said, we buy from Aldi Mennonite bulk store, buy 1/4 beef from local hobby farmer, garden and can. Yes, so it's a good combination. Everybody has their combination. Let's see, Umbrella Automotive Plan D Survival said, I distill my salt water. It's the same way I turn engine oil into black diesel, same way moonshine is made. Cool. Hello, new skills, big thrills. All right, so what else I have? So yeah, we did just get a little freezer. We did have a regular fridge freezer combo, but I butchered 15 chickens, and it made me realize, okay, when things are offered for free, or when you find things at a really good price, a very small freezer just doesn't cut it. I could have suddenly decided to bottle everything, But for one thing, I would have needed more jars and I would have needed more kitchen space. We do not have any shelves in our kitchen that are heavy duty enough to hold a lot of canning jars or whatever's you put into your canning jars. We only have one cupboard above the counter, and we have one maybe 10-foot spread of counter. Do you think it's even 10 feet? 8 feet maybe? 10 feet? But half of that is taken up by sink. And so we have very, very little space to store things. So it didn't make a lot of sense to can the chickens. It makes a lot more sense that we went and got the little freezer.
Plus, it's the combination that works best for us.
Umbrella Automotive Plan D Survive said dry foods require more water storage. That is very true. It does require more water storage. And the way that we got around that at our last homestead is we just had a pump on our well, a hand pump on our well. And we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 gallons of, how much water did we have? 500? 800. So at our other house, we had 800 gallons of water storage underneath our stairs. And then we had the hand pump on the well out back. And so that's how we handled that, is that we had, not only did we have in place water storage that we'd already treated, but then we had a continual supply outside. And different ways to filter the water. Here it's a little bit different. We're in the middle of the city. We don't have any way to, what?
And here we can do rainwater catchment because it rains enough.
Okay, John says we could do rainwater catchment here. We would probably want to shoot all the squirrels first.
Yes.
Because
sweep the roof.
Sweep the roof.
Get the nasty off the roof.
And then if you're going to do rainwater catchment, my personal opinion is you boil your water. Even here in the city, I boil our water and I make tea. We're not drinking water out of the tap. For any of you who've never gone to a wastewater treatment plant, there's a certain amount of fecal coliform that is allowed in the water, and it's still at a safe level. So they are actually measuring and counting the contamination in the water, and as long as it's below a certain level, they consider it safe. So even back home, we boiled most of our water and drink a lot of herbal teas. And here we boil our water and drink a lot of herbal teas. So that's how we handle that. Let's see, Susie Elbazy said, do you have a basement? Oklahoma gets tornadoes, right? We do not have a basement. The neighbor, I think the neighbor has a basement. And so everybody congregates. Okay, you got to stop walking around behind the camera because you're making it fade in and out. And that needs to be in the kitchen. Our neighbor has a basement. And so when there's a problem, the nearest person with the basement is where everybody goes, is what we've been told about how this area works. And again, we're in a rental. If we weren't in a rental, what we would have in this area is probably a monolithic dome. If we decided to build our own.
There's a bridge about a half mile away. We'll go hang out under it.
Really?
If we're not allowed in the basement.
Let's see. Tom Brown said John wants squirrel stew. Happy holidays, Alan K. Nancy Reichart said Oklahoma residents have a safe place below the level of their garage. It is registered, so officials know where to look for you. Okay, so no, because we're doing a live show and we're working on not interrupting Mom, remember? Okay, so what was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Okay, so allergies and food storage. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is storing what you can actually use. So a lot of people are like, why would you sell all your food storage? Why would you do that? When we left, we had about 5 years worth of food storage. And one of the reasons why I was okay with selling a lot of it was that we found that we couldn't eat grains. We found that a lot of what was in our food storage was making me and the girls sick. And some of it was older. Some of it came from my parents. We'd already been cooking it and feeding it to pigs. We've been cooking and feeding it to chickens. And even though we still had quite a bit of food storage, a lot of it was kind of obsolete. It didn't really apply to what our family needs were. And it didn't really apply to our needs. And so it wasn't really a bad thing for us to start over. There were some things that we really could have resurrected. A lot of the canned goods that we do keep, we could have used those, the canned goods. We had some condiments that we still could have used. We had the salt and the beans, but a lot of it wasn't organic. And lately, the last few years, if you guys don't know, when they harvest beans and lentils, they actually spray it with Roundup to kill the vine, and then they go in and they harvest the beans and the lentils. And so you're getting a pretty good shot of chemicals in the soil, and not only in the soil, but also on the food itself if you're getting non-organic bulk goods at this point. So if it doesn't say organic on it, that's how they kill the vine. And they do the same thing with potatoes.
And grain.
Huh?
All grain.
And grain.
Wheat especially. A lot of people that think that they may be gluten intolerant or have Crohn's disease, they have found that it is a hit and miss game, because some farmers will spray that wheat and they get a slightly better yield of it because the plant tries to drop the seed before it keels over completely. And so they will get a bit more of the seeds off of the stalk as they harvest. And so that has become the new practice, to spray down the wheat just the same. And so a lot of people are having reactions to Roundup and pesticides and herbicides. And it could be mistaken for Crohn's disease, IBS, or gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
And Dad reacted to lettuce.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear anything. Do you want me to tell the story? So John doesn't have any food allergies, and yet a couple weeks ago, a friend brought in food from Costco that was fresh, that had fresh lettuce on it, and he reacted to the lettuce. No reason for him to react to the lettuce unless they had something sprayed on it that he reacted to. We have found he used to work a lot with cars, and now that he's been away from it for a few years, he started to have an autoimmune reaction to the chemicals in vehicles. And so we have noticed that when he gets in around heavy chemicals, some really nasty chemicals, he starts to turn red and he'll get hives, and it'll take a while to get him to calm down. And now he even is starting to react to some foods that look like they were sprayed with something. Oh, let's see. So what we are doing now is, as we're rebuilding our food storage back up, we are getting organic when it comes to bulk goods. We're getting organic lentils, organic beans, and we're not getting all of our fresh fruits and vegetables organic. It's hard for us to afford that. We did get it from Costco. They do have really big bags of organic fruits and vegetables there. I think the best thing to do is to grow your own. Where we've been traveling for so long, and our renters were using the greenhouse this last year, we've had to kind of build our gardening system back up. But I do think the best way to do it is to start with good soil, grow your own, and don't move every 6 months like we have been. Okay, so that is pretty much the show that I wanted to have for you guys today. I'm not sure how long we have been on. Let's see if I can look at my other... How long has the show been going? Anyway, I would recommend to everybody that you look around, and not only is it good from a preparedness and a safety point, it's really good for a budget to not be going out and going grocery shopping every 2 days, and instead to have food on hand for emergencies, but also just for cost. And then Narrative Spirituality said, are you guys Christian? Just curious, stuff is going down. So yes, we are Christian. And speaking of which, we do need to go to church today. So Merry Christmas to everybody. At this time of year, in my opinion, it's a good time to start making a list of not things that are like way out there as far as food storage needs, but things that are very, very basic. And think, when I get my tax return, this is what we're going to put it on. We're going to have food storage, and make sure to rotate your food storage. Don't just store it in your house. You should be eating out of your food storage. It's not an emergency preparedness thing. It's a lifestyle of eating healthier and eating more basic foods and having more control over what goes into your food. And so one of the best tools I would recommend, now that I have used it, is the Instant Pot. Right now I have it on as a slow cooker with lentils in it. That meal probably cost us $4. We had 2 pounds of dry lentils, organic, 1 onion, and then probably 3 carrots and some salt and some marrow bones. So it may have cost $5 total for the meal, which is a far cry from buying prepared meals that don't really fill you up. And where was I going with that? Oh, the Instant Pot. So is it a Kasori? Okay, it's a Kasori. So I'll put the link below. I do have a discount code for it. I don't make any money on it, but I do have a discount code for it. And we've been able to pressure cook with it. We've been able to make yogurt with it. I've made yogurt with it twice now, and I love it for that.
It's soup.
It makes soup. It makes roasts. We've made, I don't think we've done cereals yet, but I'm sure it does fine. What else have we done with it? We've done a bunch of stuff with it. I don't know how I lived without it, because I was always irritated by crock pots because it's the only thing they do. They slow cook. But this one is amazing. So super, super happy. The Kasori, I don't know what I did without it. I still use my other pressure cooker, but I'm finding that most meals I'm trying to do it in the Kasori, which is like an Instant Pot. So I'll try and put that discount code. I think it's a 10 or 15% discount code, coupon code in the link below. And I don't think you need to do this kind of thing necessarily with Panic. But I do feel like there's enough stuff that goes down and stuff that's around that it's nice to have a buffer, and it's nice to know where your food comes from and to get started growing your own food. But in the meantime, have some backup systems. This is my favorite preparedness book. It is by Kathy Harrison, and it's Just in Case: How to Be Self-Sufficient When the Unexpected Happens. And it's particularly good if you have children. This lady has 12 kids. And
she was on the first season of Doomsday Preppers.
She was on the first season of Doomsday Preppers. She's amazing and very common sense. It's not emergency scare tactics. It goes through hurricanes. It goes through tornadoes. It goes through everything you can do. And very, very good. And as far as if you feel like you can't start a garden in winter, this is the best book possible. Hotbeds by Jack First. And you can get it on Amazon. I think I have it in the link in the description below too, if you want it. But this is, I don't go anywhere without this book, which is really sad. I have other books that are really good, but as far as being able to push your growing season and use what you have around you and not spend a lot of money, this is an amazing book. And what's coming up next is that I have a grow light that we went and got from Home Depot, $30 total for this 4-foot grow light and everything we need with it. To get some seeds started. We have the rabbit hutch supplies ready to go. We have, what else we have? The duck house is ready, so we're ready to go pick up the ducks as soon as I get windows and a door on. I have so many projects. It's great. So excited to start them. What else? So when we get, oh, and then after we get the ducks, we have the hotbed ready to start. John did build me a hotbed, and that's ready to go. Yes, Umbrella Automotive Plan D Survival said, can I shout out my survival group? It's on Facebook called Plan D Survival. So everybody should go check that out. I will go check that out. Nicole Snyder said, so delighted to have found you. I'm really inspired by the way you speak and show up in the world. Been learning so much from y'all. Much appreciation to you and the family. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's the other thing. If you're in Oklahoma, we are doing a meet and greet gardening class on January 9th in Nowata. In Nowata. And I will.
Somewhere between Tulsa and the Kansas border.
Somewhere between Tulsa and the Kansas border. I will, that is on my Facebook. I do have a page up for that on my Facebook. So if you'd like to come meet me, and if you'd like to get a gardening class from me on how I garden at -20 degrees Fahrenheit back in Idaho using hotbeds, and using small animal manures and tree branches and all that kind of stuff, make sure to go to that. I will try to get that into the description below. I don't always remember all the links I'm supposed to put in before I start the live show, so I'll try to make sure and get them in. Let's see. Anything else? I really can't rave about the Kasori cooker enough. As far as like if you're going to be cooking things from scratch, it is a huge lifesaver. And if you have things that you need to go do in town, you can come home, you can have your food ready, or if you need something done fast because you forgot dinner, you need it done in 30 minutes, you do it with the pressure cooker. If you have all day, you do it in the slow cooker. If you have yogurt, you do it overnight. It's just amazing. Anything else, guys?
Make sure to share, and subscribe.
All right, so make sure to let me know what else you'd like to know about these topics, and Merry Christmas. And
yeah, tomorrow's Christmas, and I just can't wait. But we have to wait on Christmas Eve because Mom and Dad don't want us to come up early.
That's very true. Anyway, we will. Oh, and if it, oh, that was the other thing. Okay. I'm also supposed to put in the link for shirts because I believe it was either last night or tonight. Maybe it was last night. I don't remember. Some people wanted extra t-shirts, and so they opened the campaign back up for a few days. So I don't know if it ended last night or if it ends tonight, but I will put that link in too. I can't forget all these links. All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.